So today I'm going to be replacing the air compressor on my 2003 Peterbilt 379. A buddy of mine told me I should make a tutorial. I'm pretty sure it's a joke, but we're going to do it anyway. Just need to take it off, take all these lines off, swap the fittings off, and put them on the new one. And hopefully don't run into any issues. So far what I figured out is all 3/4 bolts, looks like. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a 3/4 and a couple extensions. That way you can get to all of them. There's one, I don't know if you can see it. Get this thing to focus. There's one up under here. There it is. One up under here, and extension brings it all the way back here where you can get to it pretty easy. Same with this top one. Get to it there. Get to it back here with a ratchet. That way you ain't got to fight all this crap up here. Unless you got a ratchet wrench or something you can get in there good with. Alright, so I got most of the hoses off. I'd never done this before. I did one on Detroit one time and I don't really remember nothing about it. But this hose here is water. And I assume that one's water because I didn't take it off yet, but everything else is off, and everything else was air, oil. I'll show you where I drain the water out and make it easier so you ain't got to crawl under it. This is over on the passenger side, behind the turbo. It's part of the oil cooler, and it's a hell of a lot easier to get a 5-gallon bucket under it to drain the water over here. I had to drain roughly 5 gallons of water, coolant, whatever you want to call it, to get that line there to quit from leaking. Got all the hoses off now, and we'll see if I can pop this thing off of here. What I've done is I've took the bottom bolt off and the one on the back side. I'm just going to do this front one here. And left it on there because these things are heavy, and it's the easiest one to get to. So keep that in mind when you're doing this. Alright, so there it is. I've got it out. I left that one, that top nut on there so I could loosen it up easy. Keep my hand on it while I undid it. That way it didn't fall out or something crazy. But there it is. Now I'm going to swap these fittings and see if I can't put the other one back in. Here they are side by side. Looks like I got to take this gear off. Take this off. There's already a plug on my new one there. I gotta take this off, this off, this off. And on the back side I gotta take this off and that off. And little fitting there. This is what the new one looks like. And I didn't know how to change that gear. I'm hoping the impact will just buzz it off and put it on the new one, but we'll find out. So this new compressor don't have this adapter here. So all I'm doing is taking the screwdriver and kind of prying it here and there with a hammer, and kind of getting it off of there. That way I can put it on the new one. The compressor came with paper gaskets, but the guy at Kenworth's gave me some rubber O-rings, I guess, for this particular application. Alright, so I used my cordless impact and a 30mm socket to get this nut loose, and then the gear comes out. And there's that plate I was taking off. This is where the O-ring goes. Right around through there. And then there's the old O-ring right there. Replace that. put this on the new one, put the gear on the new one, the nut on the new one, and new O-rings, and slap it back in. Here's the new compressor and this adapter plate. This ring right here is bigger on one side than the other. The bigger side goes towards the engine, the smaller side goes towards the compressor. And that's the new O-ring, and I thought maybe I need something to keep it in there, but it seems like it pretty well stays in there by itself. So get this put on there and put the gear in, and then start swapping some fittings around. Okay, so my first attempt at putting this thing on, it needed a little something to keep it in there. So when I got to hitting on it to get the mount up to the compressor, so I just took a couple little dabs, hardly anything, of some axle grease or tube grease, whatever. A little dab there, about 4 places. We'll see how it goes this time. Now, I don't know what happened to that other video, or anyway. So the axle grease did keep it in place. I got it pretty well mounted down on here. It moves around just a little bit, but it's pretty well where it needs to be. I'm gonna put this gear in here and start swapping them fittings. Alright, so I've got all my fittings swapped over from the old one to the new one. Got that adapter piece in place, got the gear on. Everything else pretty simple, just swap what you had over. They provided that plug right there. And other than that, I think everything else is already plugged up, but see if I can get this thing put on there. Well, there it is. I got it back in place there. I had to take it out probably 3 times or so and move the gear, the drive gear. It wouldn't go in all the way, so it was lacking about a 1/2 inch of going. That's about 1/16, 1/8 of an inch or whatever. Now it'll go on there with the bolts now, but make sure you line it up first and don't try and force it on with the bolts. Finish bolting this thing on here. Alright, I got everything hooked back up. The only thing I had to do was this one here had studs right here and right here, and I had to grind them off for that hose to fit, and this water hose not to rub. Other than that, it went together pretty good. Put a little blue Loctite on them bolts and tighten everything up. I'm not going to start it and check for leaks right now. I assume there'll be one, but I wasn't planning on draining 5 gallons of antifreeze either, so to be determined about the leaks, but there you go.